What is up, everybody? What is up? What is up? What is up? Oh, crap. I should have shown that. But what is up, guys? I'm just doing a casual live stream as of right now, getting everything set up really quick. Um, just give me 1 second. Hey, Vincent Patou for $2.79. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support. Thank you. Gonna be just setting everything up right now, guys. So just give me 1 second. I should have done this before the stream, so for next time I'll know to have this set up already. I'm just kind of chilling tonight. I'm gonna try to do more frequent streaming as of right now. So what's up? Hello. I hope everyone's having a good day. I mean, I'm doing pretty well just because of the fact that hello, I'm doing pretty well just off the fact alone that I really have just been doing great. And then overall, I'm feeling really good after yesterday's primary. Yesterday's primary was, incredible for the Republicans. Wait, let me see something. Is my mic even on? Hold on. Can you guys hear me by any chance? I'm just trying to make sure if you guys can hear me or not, because it says I can, but when I play back my audio, oh, because my volume on my computer was all the way down. Never mind. All right, we are good. So as of right now, okay, perfect. So just waiting for people to come in and stuff. So right now, okay, yeah, perfect. So you guys can hear me perfect. So what's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. This is gonna be just like a chill stream. I'm gonna just be talking about the 2024 presidential election. I'm gonna be going over some analysis on the map and things like that, and looking at my model and stuff. So if you guys please like the stream, please subscribe if you're new. And without further ado, we're gonna get right into this. So pretty much for Donald Trump, right? He is in a pretty good spot right now, in my personal opinion. As of right now, he's currently, doing exceptionally well in all of the polling in all of the swing states. He's performing very, very well as of right now. And so what I want to talk about is I want to talk about what does this mean? What does this mean for the 2024 election? As of right now, I'm going to fill out a, battleground map that I've basically constructed a pretty much a basic battleground map. Iowa, I think, is going to be over a 15 percentage point victory. And yes, I did hear about the Illinois thing just like very recently. I just heard about that. Um, I honestly don't think that might be a problem just because of the fact I feel like they are going to take it to the Supreme Court, and I think the Supreme Court's going to rule against that, so he should be okay for the most part. But as of right now, I'm kind of just constructing a swing state map that I have basically done as of right now. And guys, yesterday was a horrible night for Biden. Yesterday was a terrible night for him. He did very, very, very poorly in the electoral college. First of all, or not in the electoral college, excuse me, in the Republican primary. He did, our Democratic primary. 100,000 votes were uncommitted, and about 23,000 or almost 40,000 votes were candidates that got other votes. So 143,000 individuals decided to vote against Joe Biden. And as of right now, I think Donald Trump wins Wisconsin, wins Georgia, and wins Nevada, as well as picking up Arizona, Alaska, excuse me. Hawaii is still safe. Virginia is lean as of right now. But I think as of right now, guys, we could say that in a hypothetical scenario, that Michigan is almost not, maybe not guaranteed, but as of right now, in my rating, could be characterized as still Republican in its chances for going to that candidate. I generally think that based out of what we saw yesterday, Trump is the favorite to win Michigan. Now, by how much, we're not really sure. But it does seem based out of the polling and things like that, he could possibly be the ultimate favorite, which puts him already above 282 electoral college votes in my battleground map. So effectively, this, you guys, could really be considered my official battleground map as of right now, which has Donald Trump at 282 electoral college votes to Joe Biden's 209. And I think at that point, you'd theoretically be able to add Pennsylvania to that column. But we're not going to add this just yet, just because there is a slight chance that Pennsylvania could vote to the left of Michigan this cycle, which would be interesting to see. And it is completely still on the table to happen, just because of the fact that, the polling there has been decent for Biden. He's basically tied with Trump there. So he could pull out a surprise victory in that state. But as of right now, I think it's pretty safe to say that, Donald Trump has a decent chance of winning the presidential election. I genuinely think he has a pretty good chance of winning the election. And so, as of right now, if I were to do an actual prediction map, as of right now, I'm going to start from the very beginning and we're going to go through everything, based off of everything we're looking at, as well as my model for the general election, which I haven't finished editing yet, which I have to keep editing. But as of right now, I think all of these states that I'm characterizing are going to vote Republican by over 15 percentage points. I'm saying Iowa does, just because of the fact that the state is very rural. There's a lot of rural voters there. And on top of that, I just think that Donald Trump is massively favored. They won the primary by 30 percentage points. So I do think because of that, he is actually going to win the state by over 15 points. If we go to the Nebraska, I think the first district and the third district are going to be safe Republican. I think South Carolina is going to be over 15-point win, as well as the state of West Virginia. Now, for the safe Democratic states, I think Biden will win California, Hawaii, as well as Maryland, DC, Vermont, and Massachusetts by safe Democratic margins. But those are all of the safe Democratic states for Biden. Biden is going to hemorrhage a lot of support coming up, just because of the fact that, I do believe that he is going to hemorrhage a lot of Democratic support, especially based out of his performance in Michigan as of last night. I think he had an abysmal performance for an incumbent president. So I do think because of that, he is actually going to underperform in a lot of Democratic areas due to immigration and due to the economy just really, really not working out. And so, as of right now, I think for the likely states for Donald Trump, in the state of Ohio, he is going to win it by a likely margin. If we do look at the state did vote for Trump by about 8 percentage points. If you look in the northeastern part of the state, he was able to, rack up a lot of counties that usually Republicans weren't able to do, and he ran it up in white working class areas. And so, because of that, he was able to pull off a pretty big victory, even for everything going wrong for him in the 2024 or 2020 presidential election and having a way worse approval rating than Joe Biden. He still won the state by 8 points, which leads me to believe that he's going to get close to 15. He'll probably win it anywhere from 13 to 14 points next cycle. The next likely state I'm going to be adding is the state of Florida. In the state of Florida, we can see that Donald Trump is massively favored here. I mean, he only lost Miami-Dade by 7, lost Palm Beach by 12, won Monroe County by about 7 percentage points. So that's a big deal. He won Sarasota by 10, barely lost Pinellas County, lost Duval by a few points, which is a left trending county, and barely lost Seminole County as well. So there's a lot of places for him to grow in the state, and he could probably expand these margins up here in the Panhandle more than likely. And so I think Donald Trump is going to win the state close to 8 to 10 percentage points, depending on how good of a night he has. And if we go over here to the state of Texas, we're going to characterize that as a likely margin as of right now. I think that in Texas, he's going to keep gaining in these counties over here. He's probably going to flip more of these counties. He'll probably flip Duval. He'll probably flip Stark County. He'll probably get close to flipping Maverick and get a lot of these much, much closer. I'd even say that he's got a shot in Jim Hogg or even like Hidalgo County. I believe that's what it's called. And he might even flip Cameron and Willacy County as well. He's probably going to win back Williamson. Will probably win back Tarrant County. and he'll probably make gains in Harris and Fort Bend as well, and probably expand his margin in Brewster. And so because of that, I do think that he is going to be able to win the state of Texas by, possibly even more than Florida. The only reason why Texas might vote to the right of Florida this cycle is because of the border crisis. So I'm saying maybe an 11 to 13 point win for Trump as of right now. And if we go to the next likely state for Donald Trump, the state of North Carolina, and its 16 electoral college votes, if we go over here, Donald Trump won the state by 1.3%. He barely lost this county over here, and as well a couple of counties in some suburban areas, including Nash County. But I think in next cycle, based out of the competency of the GOP party in the state of North Carolina, I think he is going to be able to win the state by about 6 to 7 points. I'm also projecting that the popular vote is going to be R+5 for Trump, R+4. As of right now, based out of like polling data in my model, I think it is going to be an R+5 national environment for Trump. So you're going to see a couple of states here really be massive victories for Donald Trump. You could even say North Carolina is maybe an 8 to 10 point victory, depending on what you're looking at and how good of a night he has. The next likely state we're going to add is the state of Georgia. The state of Georgia barely voted for Biden in 2020, but I think because of African American turnout dipping in the Atlanta area, he possibly wins Cobb County back or gets it close, and probably even gets Newton as well. He'll probably win back Washington County, Baldwin. He'll probably win back Summert County. He'll probably expand his margin in Burke, and he'll probably gain in some of these rural counties, make them even redder than before, and gain in the Atlanta area. And so because of that, I think he is going to win the state of Georgia, possibly by 6 points. I mean, the five-way matchup between all five major candidates, which is Trump, Biden, West Stein, and RFK, he is actually ahead by 8 percentage points. And usually Republicans get estimated. He was always overestimated in the state by 1.5 to 2 points. So for me to say he's going to win it by 6, if the polls have him up by 8, I don't really think it's too far of a stretch, to be completely honest. By the way, guys, please like the video, please like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and join the Discord if you haven't yet. Just join it. Let's keep going here. Now, there are more likely states for Donald Trump, but I want to let's tackle Alaska. Alaska, I think, Biden, he won it by 10. I think the state is going to be more left trending than people are expecting it to be, as well as Utah. I think Utah is going to vote by roughly the same margin it did last time, just because of the fact I think that Utah is going to be a sleeper in the future, possibly like in the 2030s. Utah could be a sleeper for Republicans for it potentially flipping. But as of right now, I think Alaska will probably vote for Trump by about 11 to 12 points. I think the state is going to be one of the only states to trend to the left. I think for the Democratic likely states, I think Washington and Oregon, Biden will possibly win them, but anywhere between 8 to 12 points. I think that illegal immigration is going to severely lower the margins. You could even see Oregon get down to a 6 or 7 point victory in an R+5 national environment for Donald Trump. If we look at the state of Colorado, I actually think the state of Colorado, I mean, if we're talking about R+5, um, I think the state of Colorado votes for Biden by like maybe 6 or 5 points, just because the state is more left trending. So I do think because of that, he is actually going to be able to hold it by over a likely margin because of the fact the state is a left trending state. I think the states of Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, and Rhode Island are not going to really be a problem for Biden. I mean, they'll be closer, but he's not going to be like, oh my God, he's in danger in like New Jersey or something like that. I think in the state of Illinois, I think Biden does win it, but it's going to be way closer. He'll probably perform much better in these deep rural counties closer to Missouri and Kentucky. And he'll probably, flip a lot of voters, especially in Cook County and DuPage County. He'll probably flip a lot of voters there, probably increases margins in McHenry and things like that. So I think here he is going to improve a lot due to his African American support as of right now. The national environment I'm projecting based out of the presidential level is going to be R+5 as of right now. It could change, but as of right now, I'm projecting that it could be R+5. The next, I think the main at large, Maine's first district would be likely. I think the Maine's second district would actually probably be a safe margin, to be honest with you. And I'm going to tackle this in a second, and you'll see why I'm going to say that is the case. Now, for the other likely states for Donald Trump, we are going to see Wisconsin vote by a likely margin in the next presidential election. I think that, Trump has a lot of room to grow here. He's probably going to grow in some of these wild counties, probably reverse trends in Milwaukee. More than likely, he'll probably improve his margin in Dane County. In Osaka, he'll probably improve. Green, he'll probably improve. He'll probably win Portage back, win Door County back. Um, so that's what I'm thinking the state is going to be at. I think the state will probably be at an R plus 6 to 8 margin, because you guys got to understand, back in 2020, Biden was ahead in the polls by what, 7, and he won it by 0.63 percentage points. And right now, Trump is ahead in the state in the RCP aggregate by 1 point. So for him to win it by 8 is not a complete, crazy thing to say, or even for him to win it by, 5, 6, 7, 8 points is not crazy to say, based out of the crazy polling misses we've had in the state when Trump is on the ballot. Because you guys got to understand, 2022 midterm candidates are not the same as Donald Trump. Donald Trump has a much larger appeal to a much larger base than, somebody like a Mitt Romney or a John McCain or any other Republican that is basically running for Senate. He's a once in a lifetime candidate, and that's why he's able to get these big numbers and big margins in these states. I think in the state of Pennsylvania, he could potentially win it by 5 points in a R plus 5 scenario. I think the state will trend to the left, hence why it votes by R plus 5 in an R plus 5 national environment. If all the states were to shift accordingly, he would be winning the state by 10, but I think the state is going to trend to the left by quite a bit. So I think it still votes just above a likely margin in this scenario. I actually think a very sleeper flip for Democrats is Arizona as of right now. I think in Arizona, well, actually, let's go back. I think maybe the state is going to be a lean margin of victory. And yes, I know, oh my God, it's only R plus 3, R plus 4, and a R plus 5 national environment. Guys, you got to understand Arizona. Arizona is a very left trending state. I think that, Biden probably does win it by 2 points. Oh no, but excuse me. Like, he is going to struggle in Maricopa. I think Trump does win it back by just barely. He probably wins it by like a point. And then in the rest of the state, he'll improve. He'll probably improve in Pima County, in Apache County. He'll probably improve in Coconut County. He'll probably improve in Yuma. So he's gonna get most of his margin in the outer parts of the state. But I think in Maricopa, he does maybe win the county by 2 to 3 points. So you'll probably see him do slightly better than his 2016 victory. He'll possibly win it by almost 4 at this point in time. Now, the next state for him, I think, is going to be the state of Michigan. I think he does win the state of Michigan by a lean margin. I think in the state of Michigan, he will win it by a lean margin. Based out of the primary data yesterday, I do think that, okay, maybe Biden does do a little bit better than expected based out of the polls, but I still think, just based out of what happened yesterday, he's going to get absolutely smoked in the state. He possibly even loses. He'll win Muskegon and Saginaw County back for sure. Definitely win it. He'll expand his margin in Eaton. He'll possibly even get Marquette County, and he'll probably get Oakland pretty close. I'd actually say that Oakland's under a 5-point victory if Trump is winning the state by 3 to 4 points, like I have him winning it here, which he's currently at 306 electoral college votes as of right now. In the next state that we're going to be looking at, in the state of Virginia, I think in the state of Virginia, he does actually win the state by a couple of points. I do think Biden will probably like net tie, or at least he won't net any losses with Democratic voters or like suburban like voters and like college educated voters. So I think because of that, he is going to hold the state by probably 3 to 4 points. So the state is a left trending state overall. In my opinion, it would probably be left trending. So I think because of that, he probably does win it as of right now. If we go to the next state of Nevada, I think Donald Trump is poised to win the state by possibly almost 5. I don't think he's going to win it by over 5 points, but I think maybe, possibly by 3 to 4 points, similar to Michigan and Arizona. I think he's going to trend the state completely to the right. I think in Clark County, he'll possibly win that county, and he'll definitely win Washoe at that point, or at least he'll get Clark County very, very close, and he'll do very well in the state, probably win it by over 100,000 votes, or at least close to that margin, and probably win the state by, possibly 3 or 4 points. And now we're getting to the final states here. As of right now, I'm going to say, okay, Minnesota is probably a lean Democratic margin. I think the state is going to trend to the left, but I think Biden probably only wins it by like a point and a half or like 2 points and a half based out of all the results from the previous elections. I'm also going to say that Donald Trump does barely pick off the Nebraska 2nd district. And the reason why I'm going to say he does is because of the fact that, it is an R+5 national environment. And even though the state or the district is a left trending district, here's the thing. In this district, they actually redrew it to be slightly more Republican than before. So I think because of that, he's going to be able to capitalize on a major national R environment. That I do think would be the case. And I also think that since because of the fact that they redrew it to be slightly more Republican, I do think he'll barely pull out the win in the district. Now, for the other 4 last states, I think in New Hampshire, it's really close. It'll be close like 2016, but Biden will probably win the state by 0.8%. Donald Trump's performance in the state of New Hampshire's primary, despite a bunch of liberal independents and Democrats coming to vote for Nikki Haley, Trump still won it by 11. And again, that's not necessarily super transferable to a general. However, the fact that he was able to win it with so many Democrats voting for him, I think does show a sign that he has a greater strength in the state, and he was able to turn out Biden in primary data. But I think since the state is super liberal, I think that I think that the state will probably stay with Biden, but it is going to be a lot closer than expected. Now, for these other 2 states, I think New Mexico is going to be interesting. I think the state in this national environment will actually be a tilt margin. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. Oh, by the way, hello, Yo. I appreciate the comment. I think the state is going to be way, way closer than people are thinking, especially with huge Hispanic trends to the right. I think Hispanics are going to trend massively to the right this cycle. And I think because of that, the state is actually going to trend to the right and swing to the right and be very, very, very close this cycle. I think it's going to be very, very close. But I think Biden is still going to hold on to it just because of the fact that it is a more naturally democratic. Now, for the state of Maine, I actually think Donald Trump could barely pick off the state of Maine. Now, here are the 2 main reasons. The polls there look really bad for Biden. One poll only had him up by one poll had him up by 6 points. And not only that, there is a major third-party vote share this cycle, which is going to take away a lot of votes in Maine. And so because of that fact, I do think that Donald Trump is going to win the state of Maine by a very, very close margin. I'd actually say that probably out of the whole election, Maine could potentially be the closest one. It's going to be between Maine and New Mexico being the closest states, or at least being the last ones to be projected. And for the state of New York, a lot of people are going to give me flack for this. A lot of people are going to be like, "Lo, Lester, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?" But here's the thing, guys. In the state of New York, Biden only leads the polls by 8 points, 9 points, 10 points. In 2016 or 2020, excuse me, we can go to the 2020. I am currently 19 years old. If we go to the 2020 New York polls and we actually look at this, right? Let's look at the polls in New York. Let's go here, right? So if we go to the polls in New York, let's go, where is it? Where is it? It's not going to have the 2020 map. The 2020 ones aren't they? Okay, I'm trying to find polls from 2020. 538 average. Let's see if I can pull it up. All right, here we go. The polling average had him leading in the state by 29. That was the average. Some polls had him up in the mid 30s. Some had him up, you know, in the high 20s or low 30s. If we keep going down, low 30s, high 30s, low 30s, almost mid 30s. This one poll down here was the most accurate one. Siena College was almost there and had him up by 25. And so because of that, also Vince Paranero for 6.99. Thank you very much. I appreciate the dono once again. I very much appreciate it. If we look at the polls, right? And if you look at the actual result, Biden won the state by 23. So depending on what poll you're looking at, the polls could be off by 7 to 10 points, depending on what poll. 6 to 10 points could be off by the margin. So, as of right now, my biggest hot take for the cycle is that New York is actually going to be a lean margin. I think that as of right now, Biden probably wins it by 3 to 4 points. I think Donald Trump is going to gain quite a bit in the state of New York. He'll probably massively improve with African American voters. I think he's going to do a lot better in the New York City area and all the areas around it. He'll probably save the House of Representatives because of this. And the state is going to trend quite a bit. I think the state is going to trend a couple of points to the right. And so this is the final map that I have as of right now. This will more than likely be Friday's video. So Donald Trump at 315 electoral college votes to Joe Biden's 223. Donald Trump wins in a massive landslide victory for the modern day era. And so, guys, what do you think I should do now? Do you guys want me to continue my like a series where I just go into the future or something where I go based off all of those results, what would happen in 28? Like, what do you guys think I should do as of right now? Do you guys think I should go, into 2028? Um, or at least show you like a battleground map that I think is going to be, the 2028 battleground map? Or do you want me to pick two candidates? What do you think I should do as of right now? And actually, I'll do a poll. So 2028 matchup. So I'm going to do a poll in the chat and you guys can answer it, and I'm going to do whatever the answer comes out on top, that is in fact the thing I'm going to do. Let's see. So as of right now, okay, so let's see. DeSantis, who would it be? Tucker. Who would be another option for the Republicans? I'd actually say JD Vance could be another option. Okay, so here we go. So as of right now, I'm gonna put a poll up. You guys can vote on the poll. So whoever, wants to vote, you guys can vote in the poll. So I'm gonna just wait for right now, and let you guys answer the poll so we can look at the results and see what you guys want me to do. All right, guys. So I'm gonna okay. All right. So I'm doing DeSantis versus Gavin. So that's what I'm gonna do, right? So pretty much as of right now, I'm gonna do Ron DeSantis versus Gavin Newsom. So this is after a second Trump presidency. I'm going based off of these results, by the way. So like imagine this is what happens on election night, and now we're going into 2028, basically. That's hypothetically what I'm gonna do, right? So in this election, Donald Trump wins a second term. it's probably a decent second term. The economy gets a lot better in my yeah, the economy gets much better in this scenario. A lot of policies from the Biden administration get reversed. There's a new form of conservatism. The GOP is in a much better stance. And I think DeSantis would probably win the primary pretty easily. I think by then, a lot of people would be a little bit more favorable to DeSantis. I think DeSantis would have had a couple of more years in experience. And because of that, I do think he'd probably be able to just barely, not barely get the nomination, but I think it won't be as big as why Trump would get it, but I think he'll do decent. Um and so, does Trump have a chance to win some states like Virginia and Colorado? He has a shot at Virginia, but I don't know about Colorado. I think he's DOA in Colorado. To be honest, I think he's basically dead on arrival there. Um, and so as of right now, I think in this, in this election, DeSantis does pretty good. I think the trends in all the states would pretty much continue, just as good. And so yeah, but you gotta understand, Bush is an establishment Republican, and Donald Trump is not. So he's not gonna do that. That's the thing. He's just not. Um the one thing I think would mess up DeSantis in this presidential election, I think would just be the fact that he is going to be very extreme in abortion. And I think that a lot of suburban women are going to vote for Gavin. But I think a lot of African American voters and a lot of Hispanics are going to keep shifting to the right. So the trends are going to continue. I think Gavin is going to do better than Biden, by the way. I think he's going to do much better. And I'm actually going to leave Hawaii blank for a second because I'm actually going to explain something there. I think the states of Iowa and Ohio will be like 10-point victories for DeSantis. I think he'll do okay there. To be honest, I think in the state of South Carolina, he probably does win it by less than 15. And maybe even in Kansas, he probably only wins it by possibly 11 or 12 points. Now in Utah, it's like a maybe a 15-16 point win for DeSantis. And that's just my opinion. Maybe in Kansas he does win it by over 15, but I think in South Carolina he may barely win it by under 15. I think in the state of Florida he does win it by 6 to 8 points, but I don't think it's going to be as much as Trump. You got to understand, a lot of the country would be very fatigued. There would be a lot of independents that would be fatigued from a Trump presidency. I think the states in New Jersey and Delaware would still be likely in this scenario, by the way. I think they'd still be likely states, in my opinion. As of right now, I think they would still be likely. I think they are going to trend to the right. So actually, in this scenario, Gavin only wins Delaware by like 7, and New Jersey's like a 9-point win for Gavin. So that's that. I think in the state of Illinois, I think DeSantis does lose it, but I think Gavin will do a lot better. I think he wins it by 12. And I think in the same thing in New York, I think DeSantis possibly loses it by 10 or 11 points as of right now. So I think actually, Frankie, I don't think it would be safe to say to apply those numbers to DeSantis. I don't think it would be the case to do that just because of the fact that I think that, I don't think it's I don't think it would be electorally safe to say that uh, DeSantis would destroy Newsom on the same level as that. I don't think so. I think Newsom would gather a lot of attention, and I think he would perform a lot better than Biden, to be honest. At least going against Ron DeSantis. Against Donald Trump, I mean, we could look at polling and go from there. And Donald Trump would probably win New York and win Illinois and possibly even win Colorado in that scenario. Um, I think as of right now, I think Alaska would still get closer. I think DeSantis would only win it by 6 or 7 points. So the state is getting closer, in my opinion. If we go to the state of Colorado, Gavin probably wins it by 10 or 11 points. DeSantis probably uses that slight neocon advantage to be able to help him in the state, but I don't think that it's going to be enough to flip it. I think in Oregon, the state does maintain an 8 or 9 point victory as of right now. And I think as of right now in Texas, DeSantis would win it by 7 to 8 points. I think the state wouldn't turn a corner just because of the immigration policy. And I think DeSantis would be decent on that. So I think the state is going to vote for DeSantis by 6 to 8 points. And so we're coming into the more competitive states. Guys, I think that as of right now, I think Minnesota would be a lean margin. I think it would kind of stay neutral. It wouldn't trend to the left or the right. I think Gavin probably wins it by 3. I think he does a lot better in Maine. However, I think Gavin does win Maine back by like 3 or 4 points. I think in New Hampshire, Gavin wins it by 3. And we are here in our swing states. I think Hawaii does fall under a 15-point win. I actually think DeSantis would do pretty good in Hawaii. I think he probably gets it under 15. Tina Kaya says, do you think New Jersey could flip in a Trump landslide? And probably it depends, but maybe the state could flip. Um, as of right now, I think in the state of North Carolina, I think DeSantis wins it by probably 3 points. The state GOP is super competent, and I think that as of this point, he probably still wins it by 3. If we look at the state of Michigan, however, I think because of the abortion issue, I think that he does lose it by possibly, a point to 2 points. I think it is going to hurt him more than it would Trump because Trump makes it more of a non issue. So I think because of that, the state is going to probably end up, going Democrat. However, I think in the state of Georgia, because of the fact DeSantis is gaining with some African American voters, it's really tough to call it, but I'm gonna say he probably does sneak out the win in Georgia. I think he would sneak out a win in Georgia. I think it'd be very, very close, but I think he does sneak it out. I think in Virginia, he does okay in the state. I think he does all right. He probably loses it by like 2 points, maybe even one. I think he'd actually get it closer, and I think that trend that Virginia could possibly see would still continue as of right now. And I think that, I actually would say that in this scenario, I actually do think that DeSantis would be able. Oh, it's hard because I think the only reason why DeSantis loses it by 1 point is because of the fact that there are going to be a lot of white suburban voters that go away. And I think that if you actually look at the voter demographics in New Mexico, I think the one of the reasons why it's still Democrat is actually more the white vote than the Hispanic vote per se. So I think Gavin does win it by a decent amount. I think Arizona is an easy victory for Gavin. I think in Arizona, he probably wins it by like 2 to 3 points. I think Arizona would be a super easy victory for him. Very easy, would not be hard. The state is still trending to the left. I think the whole abortion thing would really mess up DeSantis there. And I think DeSantis wouldn't turn out some Trump voters just enough to be able to lose the state by 3 points. And I think in Pennsylvania, I do believe that, in Pennsylvania, I think that Gavin does win it by a point and a half. Um, I think that the again abortion thing would mess him up. I think DeSantis would do better than expected. However, I think it would just be enough to hurt him in a general. And as of right now, Gavin is already at 270 electoral votes. I think that possibly it's really close, but I think again the abortion thing would really, really hurt DeSantis on the national level and just in general him as a candidate. And I think Gavin would barely take Wisconsin as of right now. I think he'd barely take Wisconsin. I think in the state of Nevada, I think it's very, very close, but I think maybe okay, Ron does pull out the victory in Nevada just because of Hispanic trends. And I think in the state of Nebraska second district, I think it's really close, but Gavin would probably barely win it. So in this presidential election, Gavin wins 281 to Ron DeSantis's 257 electoral college votes. And I think DeSantis's political career would basically be over at this point, and we would be going into the 2032 presidential election cycle. I'm actually going to make this a little bit of a series, sort of. So as of right now, I am going to do a hypothetical 2020 a 2032 scenario. So I'm actually going to do a poll as of right now to see what you guys would want to see for the 2032 scenario. Just FYI, I'm going to have Gavin as the incumbent since he won the presidential election. Um so I am going to have him as the incumbent as of right now, but I'm gonna let you guys pick who the Republican nominee would probably be in this scenario. Let's see, Gavin Newsom, Tucker, Gavin Newsom v. Donald Trump Jr. All right, guys, so I just put the poll up, so whoever wants to vote on it, we'll just wait and see who's going to vote on that poll. I'm going to wait for some more results to come in just to see what would happen there. All right, so it's right now basically Gavin Newsom versus Vivek won. So let's say, okay, Vivek was the VP. Let's say he kind of sits out 2028. He doesn't run. DeSantis wins the primary very easily. And now it's Vivek versus Gavin Newsom. Guys, in this scenario, I don't know how to feel about this because it is going to be close. I think it would be close. However, I think that Vivek would win certain states that you wouldn't expect him to. Like his path to victory is going to be weird. I think that okay, he does win these by a safe margin. Now, I'm going to leave Utah blank and I'm going to explain why. I'm going to explain why I'm going to leave Utah blank. I'm going to explain in a second. But I think these would be all the safe states. I think Gavin probably does win. He probably is similar over here. Hawaii, we're going to touch on that one in a second. And we're also going to touch on Alaska in a second. Colorado is a likely state. I think Illinois, New York, we'll touch on them once again. We're going to see in a second what happens in this scenario. I think Gavin would end up being a pretty unpopular president. I don't think he'd have the best approval rating, but it necessarily wouldn't be the worst. I generally think he would have some fan support, but at the same time, I think he would also dwindle in some support as well. I think Iowa and Ohio, same thing, likely margins. He probably wins them by probably 12, 11 to 12 points, something in that range. I think in the state of Texas, he wins it by a likely margin, possibly by 6, 7. I think the state is going to trend backwards from 2028 as of right now. I think in Florida, I think Vivek wins it by 8 points, 9 points easy. I don't think that would be that hard for him. I don't think that would be a problem. I think Virginia would vote lean by like 3 to 4. I think Gavin would retain some of that establishment support. And so because of that, I do think he would actually win this state. I think he would win it. And if we look at Illinois, I think Illinois in this scenario, again, African American support would probably be hitting the 30%. And I think Vivek would get 35% of African American support. And Gavin would probably be getting like maybe 55, something like that. Like it would be a lot closer. And I think Vivek in this election does straight up, actually. Oh, what's up, Owen? I actually would say that Vivek does straight up win Hispanics this cycle. I think he would actually win them. And so as of right now, if we go through this, I think Utah is going to be likely. I think it is likely as of right now. I think that possibly, the state, Vivek is not a Christian or a Catholic, and I think that that could actually hurt him in the state by quite a bit. I think it would hurt him, and I think he does win it by less than 15. Now it's probably going to be an 11 to 13 point win, possibly a little bit lower than that. Maybe it's a 10-point win, but he still would win it. But I think it would be close, but it's fine because he's going to make it up in other states. I think in the state of New Jersey and Delaware, they are closer. I think it would be closer. I understand, Stinky Bean. I do understand what you're saying, but I'm doing a series based off of like what it is. So like I had everybody vote, okay, what matchup do you want here? And I did that matchup, and now I'm kind of just going based off of that. Hey, what's up, Jacob? What's up, man? I see you there in the chat. What's up, man? I'm just doing like a normal stream right now. I'm probably gonna finish in a little bit, but I'm just kind of doing like a hypothetical series of presidential elections. But I'm glad that you're tuning into the stream. I really appreciate it. As of right now, I think that I think Vivek, listen, guys, Vivek will probably win Alaska by a lean margin. The state is going to trend Democrat. Newsom's going to have the incumbent advantage. I think that Newsom will harness the incumbent advantage as best as he can. Maybe Delaware is the one state that does get a lot closer. Maybe New Jersey is still a 6-point win, but he is going to harness that incumbency. He will harness the incumbency and will push some states to the left, including Virginia and things like that. I think in Illinois, we're going to touch Illinois in a second, but as for Vivek in Wisconsin, he probably wins it by 3 points. I think the state doesn't really trend anywhere, but I think he would win it. I think in Pennsylvania, he does win it, and I think in Michigan, he also wins it. So he wins the Rust Belt sort of easily. I think in North Carolina, he does win it by possibly 4 points, probably. He wins Michigan by 1. However, in Georgia, it's a little bit harder to say. I think in Georgia, he probably does win it by a lean margin just because of the fact that African American voters are going to be, moving to the right. And I think that in New Mexico, I think he does finally pick it off for the Republicans. I think he actually does get it. I think he does finally get New Mexico for Republicans with the Hispanic trends, and I think that he would be able to win it. However, unfortunately for him, I don't think he'd win Arizona. I think Arizona at this point would be way too far gone. Way, way too far gone. I think Arizona would vote Democrat. I think Nevada would be a lean margin for Vivek. And I also think that the states of New York, Illinois would be lean margins for Vivek. I think they'd be a lot closer. I think Vivek does win New Hampshire, and I could possibly see him narrowing up the gap in Minnesota. And I think Hawaii is also a lean margin as well. And the Nebraska 2nd District would probably be tilt Republican, and I think Maine would vote for Vivek. So you'd have a map of 313 electoral college votes to Gavin Newsom's 225 electoral college votes in this scenario. Now, I am going to do one more. So now we're going into 2036, basically. This is the last one. I just kind of wanted to do this series for fun, just to, see how this would kind of pan out. Um, just to see how this pans out. So now Vivek is the incumbent, right? Vivek would theoretically be the incumbent in this case. Now, I'm going to put up a poll for you guys to vote on what matchup would you want. So I'm going to put that up now, and I'm going to let you guys vote, and then I'm going to do it from there. I'm typing the choices, guys. Thank you, Mr. Godzilla. I really appreciate the support. Thank you. Let's see. What other Gretchen? How do you spell her name? Gretchen Whitmer. Yeah, her name is weird. I don't like her name. Her name is very, very strange and it's hard to spell. And then the last option I'm gonna put is Josh Shapiro. All right, guys. So I'm doing one more poll, and I'm putting it up, and I'm gonna go based off of that. Sticking the I'm gonna let you guys vote. Everybody in the chat, let's vote. Let's vote. I'm gonna wait until there's a high amount of votes. I'm waiting for a few more votes because it's currently tied right now. Everybody get it up to 20 votes. Get it up to 20 and I'll do it. Get it up to 20. Get it up to 20, guys. I'm gonna wait until we get up to 20 votes and then I'm gonna continue. All right. The last vote is basically gonna tie break it. So whoever's the last vote, whatever tie breaks, that's the map I'm gonna do. So I'm just waiting for somebody to answer the poll. Come on, guys. All right, perfect. So it would be a rematch, which I think could be a realistic scenario. I think it could be a realistic scenario. Um, so it's gonna be a rematch from last time. So this is interesting because I think Vivek is the incumbent. I think, he would go through with all the bureaucracy changes. I think it would be a massive overhaul of the country. I think his approval rating would be kind of low because of the fact that it's going to be such a drastic change in the country that a lot of suburban women, a lot of people would probably not like the fact that that would happen. So, yes, Vivek would gain a lot of votes with African Americans and Hispanics, but he's going to keep doing worse and worse with white suburban voters and college educated voters overall. And because of that, we're going to be going into this scenario. And so I think, he is going to win these states by safe margins. I think he does win them by I think he does win them by safe margins. I think he does win Iowa and Ohio by over 15 points. So he actually does win them by over 15. I think the Rust Belt is going to be easy wins, pretty much. I think that in Nebraska, it'll be easy wins. I think South Carolina is an easy victory. I think Texas and Florida would also be easy wins. However, I think in Texas, the state would finally vote under 5 points. I think it would be in a 4.5 point win. The demographics there would keep trending the state to the left. And so I do think it is going to fall under the 5 point threshold this time. I think Gavin gains a lot of support back with the establishment kind of votes. However, I think in the Northeast, he is going to crack some support here. I think Delaware is going to be a toss up, so we will get back to that state in a second. And Alaska, we're also going to get back to that because you guys are going to see a pretty interesting map here as of right now. I think Colorado, again, likely margin, probably an 8.7 point win for Gavin as of right now. I think it would be that. I think the state of New Mexico does flip back to Gavin. It's really close, but I think he does flip it back. I think it is close, but he does flip it. I think Utah would be under 5 in this scenario. I think Utah does fall under 5. I think the state would be trending to the left in the next couple of years. I think that the state would really be revolted by Vivek, and I think that it is going to become more of establishmentarian state over time. However, I think that Nevada is going to vote likely Republican. So yes, Vivek is going to make it up in different areas. I think Vivek would make it up. I think the Rust Belt would actually be very easy victories for Vivek. I think Vivek does actually win the Rust Belt pretty easily. I don't think that would really be a problem for him at all. I also think that because of his administration, I think that he would pull off the historic win, and I think he probably barely wins Arizona. I think he'd probably barely pull it off. It'd be close, but he'd barely pull it off. It would be weird seeing like these would basically flip pretty much as of right now. These are the only two flips as of tonight. If we go to the state of Minnesota, I think he would flip the state of Minnesota by a couple of points. I think he'd win it by 3 as of right now. And I think Alaska, funny enough, Alaska, I think in this scenario does vote for Gavin. I think Gavin would win Alaska. Yes, I should have altered the electoral votes, but as of right now, I'm kind of just doing this quickly. I could do this in more detailed form, but I'm just kind of I didn't want to sit here on stream and fix all of them and go through the whole thing. So now, yes, okay, so in Alaska, it's oh my god, he won Alaska. Like, what the hell? However, I think Vivek would pick up Hawaii. I think he does get it. I think North Carolina is interesting because I think the state would probably start trending to the left. So he maybe does win it by only 1 or 2 points. I think in Georgia, it's a little closer. I think the state is going to start finally voting kind of close, and the GOP is probably going to lose the grip on it. Even though, Vivek is winning African Americans nationwide, because of the fact Gavin is winning college educated voters like 65 to 35 and suburban women by over 20, I think that is going to cause the state to like barely flip, to him. And actually, with that logic, I'd probably say that Arizona's probably lean Democrat, not going to lie. The state probably does vote lean Democrat. And I think in Virginia, I think Gavin does actually win it by over 5. I think the establishment's going to come back and kind of recuperate the state from the GOP, and they'll probably win it by 5. I think in Illinois, I honestly think for Vivek, I think Illinois is close. I think Illinois would be a tilt Democratic margin, and maybe Alaska would be lean Democrat in this scenario because of the shifts. But I think Illinois maybe is really, really close, but it doesn't quite flip. I think in New Hampshire, I think Gavin does win it back just because of the fact that, Vivek's approval rating would be lower. I think that, just because it's an anti-incumbent state, so I do think because of that, it would kind of falter. However, I think that Vivek would still win Maine. And I actually think that Delaware would be super duper close and he'd barely lose it. And I think in New York, Vivek basically gets it within a few points. And I think in Nebraska's second district, he probably does win it by a lean margin. So this would be the map in 2036 between a rematch between both of them. Vivek would slightly improve, and you can see there is a little bit of a realignment here. You can see in the Rust Belt, it's a complete shift in the north. He completely shifts everything in the north, but in the south, things are getting more Democrat as time goes on. However, Hawaii does flip in this scenario because of his support with Asian voters growing by a lot, African Americans, Hispanic. With all those shifts, he probably does win it by like a point or so. And so if you were to basically do all of these states in their solid colors, so we can look at all the elections basically side by side here, as of right now, if we were to look at all of the elections side by side, so you could see the false ad figures for what? I'm confused. Um, if we were to look at all of these states with their solid, their solid margins as of right now, Gavin barely wins this presidential election, only wins it by like probably a couple of, well, technically it's over 100,000 votes because he's winning the states by lean margins. So that would be the case. But yeah, okay, Gavin wins 281. And then Gavin comes here, loses to Vivek by quite a margin in the Electoral College. Vivek is able to win New Mexico in this scenario. He's able to win New Mexico in this scenario. And actually, guys, you know what? I don't know about my New Mexico characterization for 2036. I'm not 100% certain. I think maybe because the state does. Hey, what's up, Kirk? Awesome, man. I appreciate the support. So pretty much, I'm gonna be filling these out one more time. Oh, what are the What are the gifts do? I'm confused about that. What are the gifts? Oh, you can give people memberships? Oh, that's kind of cool. Wait, what? How do you do that? That's interesting. I didn't know that was a thing. Hello, Kirk. What is the gifting memberships thing? I didn't know about that. What is that? Oh, that's pretty fire. That's kind of cool. What the hell? But how do you do that? Do you have to pay extra to like gift memberships or how does that work? Oh, okay, but how does that work? Did you have to pay extra to give them to them or how does that work? I've never seen that before. I'm actually gonna say that maybe Vivek does hold on to New Mexico just because if he is, winning, if he is, it's under the tab with super chats. Oh, that's kind of cool, I guess. That's actually pretty cool. I didn't realize that. That's kind of fire. Regular price, so like you didn't have to. Oh, it's the same. Oh, so it's $5 per. Okay, all right. So it was five. So you had to pay $10 to give them to two people. Is that how it works? I'm just saying extra because like it's extra money because you're paying extra besides your membership already. That's the only reason why I'm saying that. So basically, pretty much, if we were to do like a flip map for everything, these would be the maps basically. So Trump would flip all of these. Gavin comes here and flips these states back. Oh, okay, I see. And then here Vivek comes back and wins these. He is able to win New Hampshire. He's able to win here. Able to win New Mexico. And able to win Nebraska's second district back. So he's able to flip those back as well. And then here, the only state that he pretty much gains is the state of Minnesota and Hawaii. Those are the states that he gains on the map. But I think he does lose a state. Yeah, but then Gavin flips Alaska. At that point, Gavin would flip Alaska and he wins New Hampshire back. So that's what it was. He wins New Hampshire back. Um, Trump is not on the ballot in Illinois. Wish Trump would win Colorado. I mean, it would be cool, but I don't think that's gonna happen. In my opinion. So yeah, this is basically the flip maps for all of these cycles. Trump wins all these back. Gavin wins these back. Then Vivek picks up these states, and then Vivek would pick up Minnesota and Hawaii, but Gavin picks up Alaska and New Hampshire. I could continue this series and like next stream we could go into like 2040 or something like that. That'd be interesting. Because Gavin would technically still be eligible to run again. It'd be interesting to see if maybe he becomes the nominee a fourth time, but I honestly kind of doubt it at this point. I think his political career would pretty much be over if he were to lose to Vivek twice. So, but all right, guys, that's basically it for the stream. I just wanted to do a little bit of an entertaining stream. If you guys did enjoy the video, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Just join the Discord, fill out the general election polling in the description. I am doing polling for the election. Just go down to the link in the description, fill out the polling, and follow my Twitter, guys. Please, right now, go follow my Twitter because not everybody's followed it. So if you guys do have Twitter or you're on X, just um just go ahead and follow my Twitter. It's only at like 30 something followers. So please go ahead and follow it. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.